In this video, we will explore different participatory techniques that we can use to empower education.
Many years ago, I had the opportunity to participate in a broadcast by Stephen Covey in which he presented this graphic that shows how much we retain of what we learn. As you can see, when our learning is relatively passive, for example, we are only reading, listening, and seeing or watching, our retention is relatively low, less than 50%. If we combine seeing with listening, for example, as you are doing in this video, retention goes up to 50%. But if we really want our students or participants to remember what we are teaching, we have to use more dynamic methods, such as discussion, experiencing, which can consist of applying in the classroom what they have learned, and, most importantly, sharing with others what we have learned. In order to do so, we need to use a variety of participatory techniques. Participatory techniques awaken and maintain the interest of the students. They also give them the opportunity to actively work with contents, which contributes to bettering their understanding, helping them to integrate the contents into their way of thinking, and giving them the opportunity to practice skills, which leads to confidence to apply in their own lives what they are studying. Participatory activities not only make the class fun and dynamic, they can improve the learning of the students. In fact, we should usually not include a participatory activity unless in some way it is contributing to the learning of the students.
There are different ways of incorporating participatory activities into our classes. One way is through using activities that involve different intelligences. Some people consider that intelligence is a single faculty and ask, what is your IQ? However, more recently, scientists have discovered that there are many different types of intelligence. According to Dr. Howard Gardner, there are at least 7 different types of intelligence. What we learn through each intelligence registers in a different part of the brain. There are 2 intelligences that are especially emphasized in school. These are linguistic intelligence, which we use to read, write, speak, and listen. And also logical mathematical intelligence that we use, obviously, in math classes. However, there are other intelligences that are not emphasized or appreciated as much, even though in everyday life they are very important. For example, someone who has good spatial intelligence might be an artist or an architect. Those who have good bodily kinesthetic intelligence usually excel in sports or dance. Those with musical intelligence obviously are good at music. There is also interpersonal intelligence. People with good interpersonal intelligence get along easily and well with others. And then there is intrapersonal intelligence. When we look within, are introspective and try to analyze why we do what we do. Some also add 2 other intelligences, which are naturalistic intelligence and existential intelligence. Each person has developed some intelligences more than others. So when we incorporate various intelligences, when we are teaching a topic, we facilitate learning for participants with different types of intelligence. Furthermore, what we learn using each intelligence is registered in different parts of the brain. When we learn about a topic using a variety of intelligences, all the participants learn more deeply, since they register the information in more than one part of the brain. So how can we incorporate a greater number of intelligences in our class designs? When participants work in groups, they automatically are using their linguistic and interpersonal intelligences. Then we can consciously try to include some of the other intelligences in different parts of our course or workshop. Some ways to include these other intelligences are spatial intelligence. We can ask the participants to make a drawing, diagram, or mental map of what they have studied, and then explain it. We can incorporate bodily kinesthetic intelligence through having the participants do skits or role-playing. We incorporate musical intelligence in different ways. We can ask the participants to analyze the words of a song, sing a song related to the topic, or compose a song. The activity we choose may depend on the culture or the age of the participants. And we can incorporate interpersonal intelligence by having the participants take part in a visualization or by keeping a journal in which they reflect on a topic. When planning a learning session or a workshop, we try to include activities that incorporate various intelligences. A minimum of 3 different intelligences are recommended. Another way of including participatory activities is to become familiar with a number of generic participatory techniques.
There are many kinds of participatory techniques. There are books and books which are full of participatory techniques. But here we will only mention a few generic techniques. We use the word generic because these techniques can be used with any type of subject matter. First, there are icebreakers and energizers which we can use when we first begin to work with a particular group or when people have become tired and we need to lift energy. We can use brief interventions. For example, asking a question and giving the participants the opportunity to converse with the person next to them about their response to the question before asking some of them to share in the full class. A very important technique is group work. This is especially important when we want the participants to practice what they have been learning, and they can do so in small groups of 3, 4, or 5 people. Another interesting type of techniques are observational techniques. In an observational technique, we form the participants into small groups in which 1 or 2 practice what they have learned while the others observe and then give feedback. Then the participants change roles and those who are observing have the opportunity to practice. Another interesting technique is that of visualizations, in which we ask the participants to close their eyes and use their imagination while we guide them through a particular scene in which they remember something that they lived in the past or project what they would like to live in the future. Another dynamic type of technique is that of skits and role-playing. When we want to consolidate learning, we can ask the participants to compose stories, poems, or songs, or to elaborate drawings or diagrams. Obviously, here I am just mentioning briefly what each of these types of techniques consist of.
Each technique is explained in more detail in the book How to Design Transformative Workshops.
In the next video, we will go into details of which techniques to use when and how to put them together.